11. Beloved the Parkers actors who tragically passed away. Then and now 2026. You remember the laughs, the iconic one-liners, and the unforgettable bond between Nikki and Kim. But what if we told you that behind the scenes of the Parkers lies a series of heartbreaking stories the world rarely talks about? From hidden illnesses to tragic endings. 11 beloved stars of the show are no longer with us, and their real-life struggles will leave you speechless. This isn't just nostalgia, it's a wake-up call. Hit like tap, subscribe, and stick around as we reveal the emotional truth behind the faces you thought you knew. Yvette Wilson. Yvette Wilson was more than just a character actress. She was the soul of the Parkers, bringing warmth, sass, and quiet strength to her role as Andell Wilkerson. Born on March 6, 1964 in Los Angeles, California, Wilson's path to stardom wasn't conventional. She began her career in stand-up comedy and gradually made her way into television with supporting roles in Moesha and other shows. But it was the Parkers that cemented her place in black sitcom history. From 1999 to 2004, Wilson portrayed Andell, the wise and hilarious best friend of Nikki Parker. As the owner of the community diner, she became a grounding presence in the lives of the show's main characters. Her chemistry with Monique and Countess Vaughn brought authenticity and heart to every scene she was in. Tragically, behind her glowing on-screen personality, Yvette was fighting a painful private battle. She was diagnosed with advanced kidney disease that required constant dialysis. While still undergoing treatment, she received another devastating diagnosis, stage 4 cervical cancer. Her health declined rapidly, and she struggled with mounting medical expenses, forcing her to start a public fundraising campaign in 2012. Despite these challenges, she remained a fighter. Fans rallied in support, but on June 14, 2012, Yvette Wilson passed away at just 48 years old. Her death sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, especially among fans who had grown up watching her as the nurturing, no-nonsense Andell. Wilson's legacy isn't just her unforgettable performances. It's the quiet resilience she demonstrated through pain, the smiles she brought to countless faces, and her contribution to black television during an era when representation truly mattered. She may be gone, but her influence remains timeless. Every laugh from a rerun of The Parkers carries her spirit forward. Did you grow up watching Andell and Nikki at the diner? What's your favorite Andell moment? Isabel Sanford. Isabel Sanford wasn't just a guest star on The Parkers. She was a living legend who embodied decades of television excellence. Born on August 29, 1917 in Harlem, New York, Sanford broke barriers as the first African-American woman to win an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. Best known for her iconic role as Louise Wheezy Jefferson on The Jeffersons, she became a symbol of grace, dignity, and comedic brilliance. By the time she made a guest appearance on The Parkers in 2001, playing Kim's grandmother Evelyn Nana Smith, Sanford was 84 years old. Her short role carried deep symbolic weight. It was a heartfelt tribute to black sitcom royalty. Despite her advanced age, her timing and charisma had not faded. The audience was reminded that some stars never truly dim. Sanford's personal journey was as compelling as her on-screen characters. She left a difficult marriage in 1960, moving to Los Angeles with her 3 children. Working at IBM to support her family, she pursued acting with relentless determination. Eventually, her perseverance paid off and she was cast in All in the Family, which led to the beloved spin-off The Jeffersons. Even after her rise to fame, Sanford faced challenges being underpaid compared to male and white co-stars and often sidelined due to ageism in the industry. But she never stopped advocating for visibility and respect for black actresses. In her later years, Sanford's health declined. After undergoing surgery for arterial stenosis in 2003, her recovery was difficult. She passed away on July 9, 2004, at age 86. Her contribution to television, however, is eternal. To see Isabel Sanford walk into a scene even briefly was to witness living history. Her legacy goes beyond any one role. She paved the way for generations of black actresses to dream bigger. Did you recognize Wheezy when she appeared on The Parkers? Or did it take you a moment to realize you were watching TV royalty? Thomas McCall Ford. Thomas Michael Ford, affectionately known as Tommy, from Martin, took a turn in a different direction when he joined The Parkers as Mel Parker, Nikki's ex-husband and Kim's father. His presence on the show from 1999 to 2001 added a new emotional layer, showing his ability to handle roles beyond comedy. Ford brought weight and warmth to Mel's character, making his limited appearances truly memorable. Born on September 5, 1964 in Los Angeles, Ford had long established himself as a force in black television. From stage to screen, he combined comedic chops with a commanding voice and compassionate presence. While Martin made him famous, Ford was deeply passionate about education and community activism off-screen. After The Parkers, he shifted his focus toward more meaningful work. He authored inspirational children's books and began speaking at schools, using his platform to promote anti-bullying and self-esteem initiatives. In 2016, he even produced a powerful documentary aimed at addressing bullying, a project close to his heart. However, behind the scenes, Ford faced a string of personal challenges. His 17-year marriage to Gina Sasso ended in divorce in 2014, and financial troubles mounted due to failed investments. He also battled chronic pain in his final years, a condition that impacted his ability to move freely. Tragedy struck on October 12, 2016, when Thomas died suddenly from a ruptured abdominal aneurysm at age 52. His death shocked fans and peers alike, especially as he had just completed his bullying documentary months earlier. Despite his early passing, Ford's legacy is multi-layered. He wasn't just a funny man. He was a mentor, an advocate, a father, and an artist committed to using fame for good. His life was a reminder that even those who make us laugh are often carrying heavy burdens. Did you know Thomas Ford was so active in youth advocacy after his sitcom days? Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman was once the face of American television. His role as Arnold Jackson in Different Strokes made him a household name in the 1980s, complete with his famous catchphrase, "What you talkin' about, Willis?" Yet by the time he appeared as himself on The Parkers in 2001, his stardom had faded, replaced by a life of hardship, betrayal, and unrelenting health struggles. Born on February 8, 1968 in Zion, Illinois, Coleman suffered from a rare congenital kidney disease that stunted his growth and required constant dialysis. At just 4 feet 8 inches tall, his physical appearance became both his ticket to fame and a source of typecasting. Despite his success earning millions as a child actor, he never saw most of that money. In 1989, he sued his adoptive parents and former manager for misappropriating his earnings. He won the case but was only awarded $1.3 million, far less than what had been lost. The years that followed were not kind. Financial troubles forced him to take odd jobs, including working as a security guard. His marriage to Shannon Price was riddled with conflict and allegations of abuse. Even after they divorced, she remained in his life until the very end. On May 26, 2010, Gary suffered a fall in his Utah home that resulted in a severe brain hemorrhage. 2 days later, he was taken off life support. He passed away at just 42 years old, with only $75,000 to his name, a shocking contrast to the millions he once earned. Coleman's guest appearance on The Parkers was a quiet reminder of what once was. Behind his trademark smile lay decades of exploitation and unmet potential. His life remains a cautionary tale about the dark side of child fame. Do you think child stars today are any better protected than Gary Coleman was? Estelle Harris. Estelle Harris had a voice you could never forget and a heart many never truly knew. Best remembered for playing George Costanza's shrill mother on Seinfeld, and voicing Mrs. Potato Head in Toy Story, Harris brought her unmistakable comedic flair to The Parkers in 1999. At age 71, she played Agnes, a guest character whose humor stood out in even the briefest of scenes. Born on April 22, 1928 in New York City, Estelle began her entertainment career later in life. She rose to fame through commercials before transitioning to sitcoms and voice acting. Her comedic timing, expressive face, and high-pitched delivery made her instantly recognizable across generations. Yet behind the laughter, Estelle led a life filled with quiet struggles. Despite her fame, she remained a deeply private person. She often spoke of how difficult it was to be known only for her loud, eccentric characters roles that overshadowed her desire for more dramatic work. In many ways, she felt creatively boxed in. Tragedy struck in 2001 when she survived a serious car accident that nearly ended her life. Then in 2021, she lost her beloved husband of nearly 70 years, Cy Harris. His passing devastated her and marked the beginning of her final chapter. Living in Palm Desert, California, she withdrew from public life, rarely making appearances and distancing herself from Hollywood's noise. Estelle passed away on April 2, 2022, just weeks before her 94th birthday. Her estate, valued at around $5 million, was largely built from voiceover contracts with Disney and endorsement work. Though her last years were quiet, her impact remained loud in the hearts of fans. To many, Estelle Harris was a one-of-a-kind performer, someone who brought joy, but also quietly endured the burdens of typecasting and loneliness. What was the first role you remember Estelle Harris from the Parkers' Toy Story? Or Seinfeld? Nancy Wilson. Nancy Wilson's appearance on the Parkers in 2000 was brief, but her presence spoke volumes. By then, she was already an R&B and jazz legend known for her sultry voice and elegant stage presence. Born on February 20, 1937 in Chillicothe, Ohio, Wilson's career spanned more than 5 decades, with over 70 albums and 3 Grammy Awards to her name. She wasn't just a singer. She was a storyteller, delivering each lyric with soul and precision. But behind the glamour was a woman who had weathered deep personal storms. Her marriage to drummer Kenny Dennis ended in 1970, leaving her a single mother to 2 young children. While juggling motherhood and a demanding music career, Wilson faced the loneliness that often accompanied life on the road. Despite her success, she often spoke about the emotional void that fame couldn't fill. Her second marriage to Presbyterian minister Reverend Wiley Burton brought a renewed sense of peace. Yet even this chapter came with its sacrifices. Wilson stepped back from her career to honor the role of a pastor's wife, distancing herself from the nightlife and public appearances that had once defined her. It was a choice made out of love, but it also meant putting parts of herself aside. In her later years, Wilson's health declined. She battled lung disease and anemia, and in 2008 lost her husband to kidney cancer. These losses led her to retreat to her home in Pioneer Town, California, where she spent her final days in seclusion. On December 13, 2018, she passed away at the age of 81. Nancy Wilson left behind a legacy of timeless music, quiet strength, and dignified resilience. Her voice lives on in every note of Guess Who I Saw Today and Save Your Love for Me songs that continue to soothe hearts. Which Nancy Wilson song brings back the strongest memory for you? David Graff. David Graff may be best known for his unforgettable portrayal of gun-happy Sergeant Tackleberry in the Police Academy film series, but his appearance on The Parkers in 1999 showed another side of him. Playing a no-nonsense health inspector, he brought the same commanding energy to sitcom comedy that had made him a beloved figure in film. Yet behind the uniformed characters he often played was a man burdened by the quiet weight of personal sacrifice. Born on April 16, 1950 in Zanesville, Ohio, Graff had a deep love for acting from an early age. He pursued his passion tirelessly, even when it meant enduring financial instability. Despite a recognizable face and a loyal fan base, Hollywood often boxed him into a type tough, emotionless authority figures. It was work, but not always fulfilling. Off-screen, David was a devoted husband and father. He married his wife Catherine in 1983, and together they raised 2 sons. The family lived modestly, far from the Hollywood hills, focusing on education and stability. But the lack of consistent leading roles put pressure on their finances, forcing Graff to take on smaller projects and even rely on union work with SAG that offered little monetary reward. As the years went on, the physical and emotional toll mounted. Graff began experiencing chest pain and fatigue, but chose to postpone a medical checkup so he could attend his brother-in-law's wedding. It was a decision that would cost him his life. On April 7, 2001, just days before his 51st birthday, David Graff suffered a fatal heart attack. His death shocked fans who remembered his booming laugh and unique screen presence. Though he never reached A-list status, David Graff embodied reliability, discipline, and humility. His legacy reminds us that not all heroes wear capes. Some just quietly show up scene after scene until the very end. Do you remember the first time you saw Sergeant Tackleberry? Or was it the Parkers that made you look him up? Johnny Brown. Johnny Brown was a performer who made you feel like family. Best remembered for his role as building superintendent Nathan Bookman on Good Times, Brown's warmth extended far beyond that iconic sitcom. When he appeared on the Parkers later in life, it was a gentle nod to a legacy built on laughter, relatability, and staying power. Born on June 11, 1937 in St. Petersburg, Florida, Johnny Brown's talents first blossomed in music and variety shows. A gifted singer and comedian, he toured with Sammy Davis Jr. and regularly appeared on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, showcasing his versatility long before sitcoms became his bread and butter. While never a headline name in the tabloids, he was a constant someone viewers could count on to brighten a scene with humor and soul. Off-screen, Brown's life was grounded in love and family. He shared a 61-year marriage with June Brown, his lifelong partner and mother of his children, including actress Sharon Catherine Brown. In an industry often marked by chaos and broken bonds, Johnny's personal life was a model of devotion and stability. In his later years, he stepped back from acting, but never from life. He remained a proud father and husband, cherishing his quiet legacy over Hollywood's noisy spotlight. But his health began to decline. On March 2, 2022, after leaving a doctor's appointment for a pacemaker, Johnny collapsed unexpectedly and passed away at the age of 84. His death left behind a void for fans of classic television. He wasn't just a supporting actor, he was the glue in every cast he joined. Whether as Bookman or a guest on the Parkers, Brown brought sincerity, timing, and warmth that no script could fake. What's the most memorable Johnny Brown scene you've ever watched? Good Times, The Parkers, or something else? Jean Sincere. Jean Sincere might not have been a household name, but she was the kind of performer whose dedication to the craft defined a quiet generation of working actors. In 2003, at the age of 84, she appeared on The Parkers in a minor role simply credited as Woman. For most, it was a blink-and-you-miss-it cameo, but for those who knew her story, it was the continuation of a legacy nearly 80 years in the making. Born on August 16, 1919 in Mount Vernon, New York, Jean's love for performance started in her youth. She was among the few women who entertained U.S. troops during World War II, performing as part of the USO. Throughout her career, she remained active in Broadway regional theater and eventually in film and television. In her later years, Jean became most recognizable for her voice role as Mrs. Hoganson in The Incredibles' Pixar's stern but funny insurance office receptionist. Her life was filled with artistic discipline, quiet professionalism, and unshakable humility. She never chased stardom. Instead, she found joy in consistency and craft. Unlike many in Hollywood, she didn't seek fame. She sought purpose. Offstage, Jean lived a modest, content life. She balanced motherhood with stage work, raised a family, and never strayed far from the world of acting. Her final roles, whether in animated features or sitcom cameos, reflected not a fading star, but a still-burning flame. Jean passed away on April 3, 2013, at the age of 93. Her death was quiet, much like the life she chose to live, without headlines, but filled with purpose. For actors of her generation, work was worship, and Jean Sincere exemplified that philosophy until her very last role. Did you recognize Jean's voice in The Incredibles? Or did you first spot her on a classic sitcom like The Parkers? James Karen. James Karen was the kind of actor you didn't always know by name, but you always remembered his face. With over 200 film and TV credits to his name, he built a career as a dependable, deeply nuanced performer. When he made a guest appearance on The Parkers in 2000 as Robert Vanlow, it wasn't about stealing the scene. It was about reminding the audience that true professionals never stop working even in their 70s. Born Jacob Karnofsky on November 28, 1923 in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Karen had a career that spanned over 6 decades. He's best known for roles in cult classics like Poltergeist, The Return of the Living Dead, and Wall Street. In the latter part of his career, he also gained recognition as the compassionate real estate agent in The Pursuit of Happiness. But behind the calm confidence he displayed on screen was a man haunted by the thought of being forgotten. In interviews, Karen often expressed his fear that all his years of hard work would vanish in the wave of younger, flashier Hollywood names. He never craved fame, but he did want to be remembered for the artistry he quietly perfected. His personal life was touched by both love and loneliness. His marriage to actress Susan Reed ended in 1967, and though they had a son together, they grew distant in later years. Karen spent much of his old age alone, reflecting on the fragility of fame and how easily the industry moves on. Despite declining health and memory loss in his 90s, he continued acting. His passion never faded, even when the leading roles stopped coming. James Karen passed away on October 23, 2018, at the age of 94. At the time of his death, his net worth was around $1 million, a modest sum for a man who gave so much to film. Have you ever seen James Karen in a movie and didn't know his name until now? Robert Dupuy. Robert Dupuy may not have been a marquee name, but his voice and presence commanded every scene he entered. Born on April 20, 1934 in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Dupuy built a career playing strong, authoritative figures often clad in uniform, always radiating control. On The Parkers in 2001, he made a small but impactful appearance as Walter, a role that echoed his long-standing image as the man who held order amid chaos. His most iconic role came in the RoboCop trilogy, where he played Sergeant Warren Reed, the gruff but just police commander who anchored the precinct. While his portrayal became synonymous with strength, Dupuy longed to showcase his emotional depth. Hollywood, however, had other plans, repeatedly casting him in roles that emphasized his commanding exterior while overlooking his inner complexity. Despite the limitations, Dupuy never complained. He was a consummate professional, always delivering with excellence even when the scripts fell short. His colleagues respected him deeply for his disciplined work ethic and humility. In his personal life, Robert was a devoted husband and father. Yet financial success often eluded him. The roles he played, though memorable, were rarely leading ones. He supplemented his income with union work and small guest roles in shows like Star Trek Deep Space Nine and The Parkers. Even as his health quietly began to deteriorate, Dupuy suffered from chronic lung disease in his later years, a condition he chose to keep private. Even while battling breathlessness and fatigue, he continued to show up on set, determined to contribute to the craft he loved. On February 9, 2008, Robert Dupuy passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 73. Though he was rarely given the spotlight, his voice presence and passion made him unforgettable. He was the kind of actor who never needed to raise his voice. His work spoke loudly enough. Do you remember Sergeant Reed from RoboCop or Walter from The Parkers? Which role showed you Robert Dupuy's power the most? Terry Rhodes. Terry Rhodes may not have been a household name, but his face was familiar to millions. With appearances in popular shows like Seinfeld, Friends, House MD, and The Parkers, he became a reliable presence in Hollywood's golden era of television. On The Parkers, his role was brief, yet consistent with the career that defined him, supporting steady and quietly impactful. Born on December 31, 1951 in Tucson, Arizona, Rhodes built his reputation as a go-to actor for sitcom cameos and character-driven roles. He often played teachers, doctors, or spiritual mentors, figures of guidance who brought subtle humor or calm to chaotic scenes. Hollywood trusted him to deliver, but rarely offered him center stage. Despite a lengthy resume, Rhodes never broke into leading man territory. It was a source of quiet sadness. Though he seldom spoke publicly about it, friends and colleagues knew he yearned for more challenging, nuanced roles. He had the range, the voice, and the emotional depth, but not the spotlight. His personal life had its own share of emotional complexity. After divorcing his first wife, Deborah Renee Yed, with whom he had 2 children, Terry found love again with actress Lisa Sims. Though their marriage was strong, they were unable to have children together, something Terry openly described as his greatest life regret. In 2013, Rhodes was diagnosed with amyloidosis, a rare and aggressive disease that affects organs and tissues. He endured months of decline, eventually becoming too weak to work. On October 11, 2013, he passed away in Encino, California, at the age of 61, with his wife Lisa by his side. Terry Rhodes was never celebrated like some of his peers, but he never stopped giving his all. His legacy isn't measured in awards or fame, but in the countless roles where he brought warmth, sincerity, and professionalism to every scene. Do you remember seeing Terry on any sitcoms besides The Parkers? Which role stuck with you the most? Tina Marie. Tina Marie's 2000 guest appearance on The Parkers wasn't just a cameo. It was a celebration of resilience, legacy, and cultural impact. Born Mary Christine Brockert on March 5, 1956 in Santa Monica, California, she carved out an extraordinary space in black music as a white woman who sang with unmatched soul. Often referred to as the Ivory Queen of Soul, Tina became one of the few white artists embraced by the R&B community, not as a novelty, but as an equal. Her 1984 hit Lover Girl remains iconic, but her musical genius spanned funk, jazz, gospel, and spoken word. Her deep connection with the late Rick James went beyond collaboration. Their chemistry produced timeless duets like Fire and Desire. Still, despite her success, Tina's path was riddled with obstacles. In the early 80s, she fought a grueling legal battle against Motown Records, which tried to prevent her from releasing new music. The lawsuit resulted in the landmark Brockert Initiative, a legal breakthrough that now protects artists from being indefinitely shelved by record labels. She didn't just fight for herself, she fought for an entire generation of musicians. Offstage, Tina was a single mother raising her daughter Aaliyah Rose while navigating industry pressures and health struggles. Though she never married, she spoke often of heartbreak and a longing for a stable love that always seemed just out of reach. In 2004, a freak accident being hit on the head by a falling bed frame left her with chronic seizures affecting her ability to perform. Despite this, she pushed forward, continuing to tour and record. But on December 26, 2010, Tina Marie passed away in her sleep at the age of 54, just one day after her daughter's birthday. Her estate was valued at approximately $3 million, but her true worth lies in the groundbreaking legacy she left behind. Tina Marie wasn't just a singer, she was a movement, a bridge, and a voice that demanded to be heard. What's your favorite Tina Marie song, and do you think she gets the recognition she truly deserves? Andre Rosie Brown. Andre Rosie Brown stood out in every room he entered, not just for his physical stature, but for the heart he carried behind it. Born on February 7, 1956, in Rockford, Illinois, Brown began his professional life as a police officer before trading in his badge for the screen. With his commanding frame and deep voice, Hollywood quickly cast him in roles that emphasized strength, bodyguards, security officers, and tough guys with few lines but undeniable presence. In 2002, Brown made a guest appearance on The Parkers playing Lamar. It was a typical role for him, supporting Silent Strong. Yet those who worked with him knew there was much more beneath the surface. Brown longed to play emotionally complex characters. He once told a friend, "I don't want people to just remember my size. I want them to remember my name." After retiring from the LAPD in 1998, Brown pursued acting full-time, appearing in hit shows like Friends, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Frasier. But behind the scenes, he was facing mounting personal struggles. His marriage to Deborah Brown began to unravel under the pressure of financial instability and sporadic work. Once the family breadwinner, Brown now found himself taking whatever roles he could, often feeling creatively stifled. Privately, Brown was dealing with health issues that he kept hidden even from those closest to him. He didn't want pity, he wanted opportunity. Tragically, on July 18, 2006, Andre Rosie Brown died of a heart attack in Northridge, California at the age of 50. His death was sudden and unexpected, but perhaps not surprising to those who saw the toll his quiet battles had taken. Though often cast in the background, Brown's legacy lives in the strength he brought to every scene and the humility he carried behind the camera. He was a gentle giant who deserved more, gave his all, and left too soon. Do you think actors like Andre Rosie Brown deserve more credit for the impact they make in small roles? The stories of the Parkers cast remind us that behind every laugh track lies a real life filled with triumphs, struggles, and untold pain. These 11 beloved stars brought joy to millions, yet many faced hardship far from the spotlight. Their legacies deserve to be honored, not forgotten. But here's the real question. Are we truly valuing the lives and contributions of Black performers when the cameras stop rolling? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's open the conversation. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more powerful, untold stories.